working towards Padangusthasana today. So you're going to need an area that you can lie down to start with, which is why I'm kind of angling the camera like so, and a strap. So you can use anything. You can use you know, a belt or a scarf, just something that's kind of strong and long. So just placing that to the side of you, and we're going to start by just coming down to lie on your mat. So you can keep the knees bent to start with, just taking the feet a little bit wide so you can drop the knees in towards each other, and just settling into the floor. Take the arms down either side, palms towards the ceiling. Closing the eyes if you're comfortable to, lifting the head to get that length through the back of the neck by tucking the chin under and placing the head back down on the floor. So we're just making all those little adjustments really to start to settle and relax before we start to work the body a little harder. So noticing any areas of tension, and just seeing if you can maybe direct a couple of breaths out to those areas, encouraging them to soften and relax. So letting go is often far harder than working into the postures themselves. So just bringing your mind to your breath. Softening maybe the back of the pelvis a little more. Encouraging the lower back to open, spread and relax. Notice if maybe you can lift the chest and just tuck those shoulders under a little more. And then make that adjustment with the head and the neck. So all the time, just making those adjustments. We kind of never finish really in my postures. I never feel that I'm in the perfect pose. There's always little adjustments to make. So settling now, just finding a moment's quietness. So just reminding yourself to be kind as you work today. And particularly as you're working alone without a teacher, only working to the point that's comfortable for you. So we're just going to extend one leg away, nice and slowly, and then the other. And then we're going to take the arms over the head. So a bit of a gap between the feet and between the hands, as if you're reaching out to the four corners of your mat. And we're going to take that into a stretch. So from your belly button, it's as if you're stretching out into hands and fingers. You can extend the front of the foot, pointing the toes away, get a lovely big stretch out. And as you exhale, feel everything drawing back, softening back towards the belly button. Once more, inhale, stretching away. And softening everything back again. And we're going to take that into a diagonal stretch. So right hand, left leg stretching away across the body. Inhale, exhale, softening. And the other side, a nice long stretch. Right foot to left hand. And relax. we're going to bring everything in. And we're going to inhale, stretch away. Exhale, bring it in. Exhale, stretch away. So we're just playing with the body here. It doesn't matter if you can't extend the legs all the way away. We're just playing with a nice big stretch out, that opening movement. So just matching the breath, so we're exhaling as we draw it in. Inhaling, just opening out to the world. Exhale, closing it in. Last time. Exhale, just opening out. And then you can bring the arms slowly back over the head. And then bringing one foot up. And then the other. And just taking the feet hip width apart. And bringing the hands just onto the top of the hips there. So you can just maybe feel the front of the pelvis. We're going to do a couple of little pelvic tilts. So as you breathe in, be aware of the front of the body expanding as you inhale. And maybe that little gap underneath the lower back, feel that coming away from the floor. And then as you exhale, we're drawing the belly button back towards the spine. We're pushing the lower back into the floor and the tailbone's just tilting away. Exhaling. Inhale, we're just releasing. Pelvis is moving back the other way. You're getting that little cave under the lower back. And exhale, lower back into the floor. Tailbone's just tipping away. So just following that with your breath. So we're not leaving the floor, we're just rolling the pelvis back and forth, posterior, anterior tilt. And the focus is just really on that breath. Exhaling, inhaling to release. So as you exhale, you can draw the pelvic floor in towards the belly button as well for a little bit more work internally. Inhale, remembering to release. Exhale, squeezing it in. So we're locking into that Mula Bandha as we exhale. Inhale, releasing one more time. Exhale, tucking it under. Lovely. Okay, so moving into some stretches into the legs now to warm us up for what we're going to be doing later. So this is where you're going to need your belt or your strap. So I'm going to leave my left foot on the floor. So think about what that left foot's doing. Don't have the knee dropping out to the side and the foot in some funny position. Having it in line with the pelvis, lift and spread the toes and make that firm foundation. So you can then draw the right knee up and in, and we'll just give that a little squeeze up towards the body. So I'm going to take my strap and I'm placing it round the ball of the foot. Now this is something I always have to keep an eye on in class because people do tend to have it round the lovely soft sole of the foot there, and that's going to really start to hurt after a while. So make sure it's round the ball of the foot, and then we're going to slowly just extend that leg away. So taking it nice and easy, especially if you know that you're tighter in the hamstrings. You might not be able to achieve a completely straight leg, but you're thinking about yawning the back of that leg open. Now when it comes to holding the straps, people tend to hold on for dear life, particularly if they're trying to get that extra stretch and taking the foot towards the head. So I want you to make it nice and soft, so just take the back of the hands, or the strap to the palm of the hands, back of the hands facing your leg, and that thumb on top. Okay, so a nice loose hold. You're not racing a racehorse, you've just got a nice little pony you're trotting around the park. So nice and loose, and you can soften the shoulders back and down towards the floor. So we don't want to be reaching up like this and bringing lots of tension in the body. So keeping that soft. You can, of course, just slowly bring the hands a little closer to the foot, but keep relaxed around the shoulders as you begin to draw possibly the foot towards the head, okay? And watch out for this lower leg, it's not just flopping out to the side there. Keep that big toe on that left foot pushing into the floor. Think about that contact. And breathing. Now you might be able to reach your big toe and use that. Maybe you don't need to use the belt, but I quite like the feeling of the belt so that you're keeping those shoulders lovely and open, even if you can quite easily reach the foot. Now we're going to take it up a step, so if you can, we're now going to creep that left leg, that left foot away down the mat. Now as you do, as you straighten that leg, you might find that your right leg pulls away from you, okay? So keep working there. Keep thinking about that left thigh pushing down into the floor. So you're really extending into the heel. So strong work into those hamstrings. We'll just take one more breath there. And then slowly bend that knee and release the foot down to the floor. So you can bring the left foot up now. So the right foot firmly pushing into the floor, good contact as we bring the left foot up towards us, slipping that strap around and extending now that left leg up towards the ceiling. So again, make sure the strap's around the ball of the foot. You've got a nice comfortable hold on your strap or your tie or your scarf there, and you're relaxing the shoulders back and down, the neck still nice and long, and you're working that foot up towards the head. So luckily I'm fairly loose in the hamstrings. If you're not and your leg is like so, just check that you're not screwing the face up and bringing all sorts of tension into the other parts of the body as you kind of battle with the hamstrings. Just be kind to yourself, so maybe just let that leg come away a little bit more, soften. Maybe you'll be able to stretch it a little straighter if it's further away from the body. Keep an eye on that opposite knee flopping out. And then we're going to extend that right leg now along the floor. So creeping the foot away, maybe noticing that pull, that relationship between the legs as you extend through the front of the right thigh, psoas stretching out now. Maybe you can take hold of that big toe yoga grip. Push into the right foot. Have a nice big deep breaths. And then slowly bending the knee. Bring the sole of the foot to the floor. And just bringing that right foot up to join it. So if you need to, bring the knees onto the chest and having a little rock side to side. So it gives the hamstrings a break for a moment. We're just going to have a revolve into the hip joint itself. So the hands maybe on the front of the knees to start with. We're taking a nice big deep breath in. As you exhale, bring the knees towards you and inhale, circle them away and round. Exhaling in. Inhale, legs wide and around. Keeping that going. So if it's tricky for you, just keep that a smaller circle. Okay, you can keep that just like so. You're still getting that rotation into the hips. And then we're coming the other way. So we're going to exhale, sorry, we're going to inhale, push the legs away, exhale, drawing them in and together. Away, exhale, into together. Inhale, hands together. One more time. And again, a little rock side to side. Place the soles of the feet onto the floor. And we're going to bring that right leg in once more. So we're slipping the strap around. We're going to come back into the position we were in just now, extending the leg away. And we're going to take that leg out along the floor. So the left leg, we're pushing into the heel to straighten into the floor. And we're going to take the strap now into the right hand. So the left hand can come down onto the hip or the thigh of that left leg, just to encourage it to stay straight and as flat as you can, because we're going to start to take the right leg away to our side. So we want to revolve into that hip socket first of all. So I'm turning the big toe away, heel in towards the body to get that feeling of rotation through the hip. And then I'm exhaling and slowly coming out to the side. Now, depending what your hips are like, you're going to maybe be able to bring the foot to the floor, or you're going to be hovering somewhere around here. But what you want to watch out for is really what's happening with the other side of the pelvis. So I could take my foot over towards the floor, but can you see how this buttock's just come off the floor now? I'm just rolling, okay? So there's a sense of being honest with what's happening in your body. So I can feel as soon as I get to about this point, that opposite hip, that left hip is starting to want to leave the floor. Okay, so it's better for me to stay there. I'm working with the breath. I'm feeling a strong stretch into the abductors. And then we're going to inhale, bringing the leg back. And just soften my bending the knee. So let's extend that right leg along the floor now. Draw the left knee up. The same on this side, we're taking the strap around the ball of the foot, extending the left foot up towards the ceiling. Just reaching up your strap, finding the point that's comfortable for you. And again, bringing the attention now into that right thigh, that right hip, really trying to keep them grounded. As you inhale, turn the toes, big toes away, heel in slightly to get that rotation into the hips. So feel like you're rolling out that upper thigh. And then exhaling, coming over. So I mentioned earlier, nice and flexible through the hamstrings, but the hips I'm definitely not. So that's my maximum. I can feel if I go any further, this right hip is just going to roll over and want to join and roll me completely onto my side. So staying there is good for me. I'm working really hard. And coming back to that breath. So the breath is the key to all our postures. So inhaling, as you exhale, draw the belly button back towards the spine. Keep extending into that right heel. Keep grounding down through the back of the pelvis. One more breath. And then really switching everything on to inhale and come back to centre. I'm going to bend the knees there. Little rock side to side. And then just rolling onto your right side and coming over into child pose. So just softening bottom back towards the heels. Take the knees lovely and wide. And just relaxing there for a moment. one child pose, just slowly coming up. Roll out into the shoulders, and then we're going to come round to sit in Dandasana. So just taking the flesh at the bottom away from the sitting bones, taking it way behind you, and sitting tall. So bringing the toes up to retention, and you can just soften them, keeping the feet in line, working all the way up the legs. So we're thinking of rolling really the flesh of the legs all the way out from the central point, around, back up into the groin. So the legs, so they're on the floor, they're nice and active. And then we're lifting out of the sitting bones, finding a nice long spine and relaxing those shoulder blades back and down. So fingertips just to the floor, either side of the hips, lifting the sternum. Just taking a couple of breaths there. So sitting in Dandasana could be hard work in itself. Just finding that quietness. And then we're going to come to do a couple of twists in Marasasana. So when you're ready, just slowly bending that right leg and placing the sole of the foot on the floor. So making sure that's just comfortable for you. So it doesn't matter if your foot is down in line with the calf or further up. Maybe taking the hands to start with just around the calf, finding that lift again. So we're going to do an open twist to start with. So we're turning away from that bent leg. So I'm going to take my left hand all the way behind me and my right arm in front of that bent leg, and I'm just going to bend at the elbow and push against that knee and thigh area. So as I push, I don't want to push the leg right away, so I'm using the leg to push back and using that to come round a little bit further into my twist. So I'm inhaling and exhaling. Inhale back to centre, extending the right leg away and drawing left foot onto the floor. So we haven't done any twists in class yet this morning, so giving your body time to warm up and extend. We're taking that right hand behind, left hand inside of the knee, thigh. Inhale to sit tall, exhaling to turn. So twists always better to be repeated than held too long. Coming back to centre. We're going to come back to that first leg, so drawing the right leg up towards you. Really separating, fanning out the toes of that right foot and pressing that firmly into the floor, finding that lift. Now, if it's better for you, you can repeat the twists we've just done. This one's a little bit harder, it restricts the breath a little bit more, and certainly if you're pregnant you don't want to be doing this next one, a closed twist. So taking a little lean back so that you can really rotate now towards that bent leg. We're going to take the right hand behind to support, feeling our way through and then finding that height once more. So you can stay in this position, hugging the leg, inhaling and exhaling, or you can take that elbow to the outer side now of that right thigh or knee. Sitting up tall, exhale to turn. Keep pushing into the foot, into the heel of that extended leg. And inhale back to centre. Other side. So remember, you can just keep it with that first twist we did, away from the bent knee. Or you can take a little lean back, work on revolving that rib cage, finding that lift, and either holding around the front of the leg or taking that right elbow to the outside of the left leg. Inhaling and exhaling. Keep thinking about that straight leg pushing into the heel. And inhaling back to centre. So extending both legs away, just scooping the bottom once more behind you, finding those sitting bones. So we're going to take the twist a little bit further now, and we're working into a bit of a balance as well. So probably best to take a look at this one first. So we're going to bend the right knee up and take the left hand around that little toe edge of the foot. So if I bring that up so you can see that, I've crossed the hand over the top of the foot and I'm just holding round the little toe edge. So if you start with it on the floor, and then as I've just done, you're going to begin to find your balance, just lifting the foot away, keeping a bend in the knee. We're then going to bring our right hand forward. We're going to inhale and exhale, following with the gaze that right hand as you take it all the way behind. So you can see this is a closed twist again, so not good for pregnant ladies. Can also push the blood pressure up a little bit, so being wary of that. Now once you're in this position, you want to find that lift again, so you're lifting up through the sternum to find the length through the back, and then possibly beginning to extend that front leg away. Really drawing into the fingertips and the foot. And then we're going to slowly bring it back and to the floor. Okay. So if you're ready, we'll bring one knee in, let's say the left knee in this time, and just finding that height. So being aware of the contact of your sitting bones into the floor. So just nestling them down, rooting yourself to your mat. And then it's the right hand that's going to cross over the top of that left foot and just cut round the little toe edge of that foot. And then you can use that left hand just to secure you onto the floor. So if it feels better, just have it behind you for a moment, do, or to the side. Just light fingertips, just to help you find that balance as we start to bring the foot up off the floor. So what we don't want to do is sink back and round through the shoulders. So keep lifting the sternum, keep opening through the front of the chest. And then when you've found your balancing point, we're going to bring that back hand forward. We're going to lift through the spine. Take a lovely big deep breath in. And as you exhale, following with the gaze, we're taking that left hand all the way behind us, relaxing the shoulders back and down. Lift once again through the front of the chest. Now you can leave that front knee bent, that's absolutely fine, you're working really hard, or possibly extending. So So don't let that front raised leg waft off over to the right. One more breath. Inhale, slowly coming back to centre, bringing the foot to the floor. Extending that leg away, we're going to draw up the right leg now. So finding the lift, finding those sitting bones and the connection with the floor. It's going to really help with your balance. Then maybe right fingertips to the floor just to help as we take the left hand and just cup it round the right side of that right foot, little toe edge. So keep lifting the sternum, lengthening through the back. I'm just going to play with bringing that foot off the floor. So if that's as far as you get today, that's absolutely fine, okay? So maybe you're just staying sitting to the front, playing with that lift of the leg. Once you've found your balance, keeping that lift, we're going to bring the right hand to the front. We're going to lift the sternum. Inhale, exhale, following with the gaze to look all the way behind you. Find that height. Possibly extend the front leg. And use the breath. So inhaling and exhaling, 2 more full breaths. And then slowly coming back round to centre, releasing the leg to the floor. And maybe just slowly reclining down for a moment. Doing what feels good for you. So maybe a little rock, side to side. And then from that position, taking gap between the knees and just extending the feet up towards the ceiling. Now you can hold round the back of the thighs, or the calves, ankles, or slipping the first 2 fingers between the big toe and the first toe, taking the thumb around, yoga grip, and just draw those knees in towards the armpit. So just softening the breath there. So you might notice how those twists push the blood pressure up. So really relaxing and softening the breath now. And we're taking a stretch into what's called Happy Baby. You can, if you like, have a little rock side to side. Now your Happy Baby might look quite different to my Happy Baby. Mine's not such a happy baby because, as I mentioned before, tightness for me into the hips means that that's as wide as I can comfortably take it. You might find if the way that you're put together with the femur into the hip joint is a lot wider, then you might find that naturally your knee comes much further down towards your armpits and out towards the floor. So don't stop where I am if that's a good natural position for you. And if it is, you'll be able to really take a good rock side to side and enjoy a massage way across the back of the body. You can see, for me, it's a bit like teetering on a tightrope, my spine being the tightrope, just wobbling side to side, not quite as relaxing. So just learning a little bit about your body through your posture work. And remembering to smile and not take it all too seriously. So, So, I'm just going to have a nice stretch out there. then slowly coming over onto the sides and coming up. So you've worked really hard so far, bringing flexibility and building your strength around the hip and into the legs. But now I want to give you a few different options for taking it towards Padangusthasana. So we're bringing balance into it to reach that main posture of today, but it really doesn't matter if you don't get there. Again, it's about remembering what's good for your body, thinking about how you can get the most out of the posture. So there's no point trying to do something and being, wobbling all over the place. So maybe today, if you need to work on a chair, that's absolutely fine. So I'll run you through that first, and then we'll build up. So if you've got a chair handy and that's going to be best for you, you're just finding, once again, just as when we're on the floor, those sitting bones, that firm foundation, and you're sitting lovely and tall. And then you can just bring one leg across over the other. And maybe you're just working into cradling that leg, bringing a little bit more work around into the hip joint. If you can comfortably take hold of the foot, you can, with the same arm as the leg that you've got up, you can take hold of that big toe. So again, we're using that yoga grip, so it's the first two fingers that are coming between the big toe and the first toe, and then the thumb that is coming around the big toe. So remember that, you'll need that as well when we do the add-ons to the sitting posture here. So we're pushing the big toe into those first two fingers as much as holding on to the big toe, okay? So there's a kind of two-way connection there. And then your work with that bottom foot firmly connecting you with the floor might just be to start to have a little stretch, okay? So what we don't want to happen here is as you begin to extend the leg away, you just start to hunch and round, let me show you side on, through the back. So particularly if your hamstrings are a little tighter, and you'll find this as well when we do it against the wall and standing in a moment, that may be with that connection between hamstrings through to the back, that as you begin to straighten the leg, you compensate by slouching through the back. So you've got to keep lifting that sternum and just finding that balance for you where you're working both the back and the leg. Okay, so there's no point straightening the leg if you're all hunched up in the body. Okay, so we're working with that awareness, with that honesty to what's happening in your body. Okay, so keep to the chair if that's for you. We'll take it maybe up a notch. As I said, we're beginning to work into standing balances. But if you don't feel ready for that, maybe you just feel a little bit wobbly today, you can use a wall to stand against. And again, the same exercise. If I turn around this way, we're just bringing one foot onto the toes. So in this case, my standing leg is my right leg, left as you're looking, but I'm really fanning out those toes and pressing the sole of the foot into the floor, and I'm drawing up and opening out through that thigh. So I'm very much switching on this standing leg so that I can just comfortably begin to bring the opposite leg up off the floor, and possibly coming to a point where you can get that rotation that we worked on when we were on the floor through into the hip joint, and just come to cradle the leg up towards you. Okay, so maybe that's your work today. You'll really feel this through the standing leg. Okay, so you're working on that connection with the floor, you're using the wall as a little bit of support, and obviously, as we would say on the chair as well, you're going to work one side and then the other. Now if you feel you can go a little bit further, again, it's that yoga grip, fingers between the toes, pushing the big toe into the fingers and vice versa. And then maybe you'll work is just have a little play, and do just play around. Just, you know, don't take it too seriously. Just having a stretch out. You'll really be feeling it into this buttock and this leg, okay? Working really hard. So whether you're on the chair or against the wall, obviously working both sides. A step further, maybe to come to standing, but making sure you've got support next to you. So I'll come back a little bit so you can see me there. So I'm really opening out through the toes. Once again, it's all about those foundations. There's no point moving into a posture without finding your Tadasana, yeah? Your grounding position first. So lifting and opening through the body. Shoulders rolling back and down. And then using your support. Once again, if you need it, we're firming up through one leg, bending the knee, just coming on to the toes of the other. So just checking your balance, don't rush. And remembering with all these variations, it can be very different one side to the other. So I'm bringing the leg up, so I'm using the hip elevator to lift the leg. And then I'm turning into the hip a little bit. So with me, not so much of a turn. With you, you might be taking that knee right out to the side. So I'm going to need to just bend a little bit to bring that foot up. And then we're working on lifting and opening through the front of the body. So if you can take your hands around that foot, working the foot into the groin, keep working the standing leg, okay? So again, we can use our yoga grip through between the big toe and the first toe, holding, making that connection, using your support, and maybe just having a little play with lifting and extending. So again, as we begin to do that, we don't want to start to lose it through the top of the body. We want to keep that lift through the sternum. So if it works better for you, you can always use a belt. So we can slip the belt around the ball of the foot, taking hold, and playing with extending that away. Because let's face it, maybe you have amazingly long legs, lucky you, and short arms, so maybe it's impossible to get the toe. Yeah, so you could use that in any of the positions I suggested against the wall. We can always slip that around too. So as I've been chatting, hopefully you've been working at the level that's appropriate for you. So the last little option will be to come into your full posture. So just rolling the shoulders back and down. Padangusthasana. We're taking hold of that big toe and we're lifting and extending away. You can always take the opposite arm out for a little bit of balance or bring it to the hip and breathe. Slowly in and release. So whether using the chair or the wall or standing using a bit of support. It's coming to the opposite side now. One more go. So finding your foundations. Settling the breath. Every posture coming from that quiet point. Tadasana or mountain pose. Finding that connection. You're sitting through the sitting bones, standing through the feet. And listening to your body. So it might be quite different one side to the other. You can take a little bend in that standing leg if you need to. It's a better option than locking the knee back, particularly if you're a little bit more hypermobile. Lifting the chest, opening out. And then slowly coming in and down. So before we come down to relax, we're just going to ease the body out into a twist. This is a lovely twist, this one. It really works into the side hip and the lower back, all the areas where you might be feeling the work we've just been doing. So when you're ready, come down to lie on your back with the knees bent. So I want you to be able to feel the insides of your legs, the insides of the calves, the knees and the thighs. And you can relax the arms out at shoulder height, palms up. So we're going to take the left leg and cross it all the way over that right thigh. And then pushing into the right foot, which is on the floor, we're going to lift the hips a little bit. Take them over to the left and place them down on the mats. So you're slightly out of line now, if you like. So take a big deep breath in there. And that top knee, we're just taking over to our right under leg, obviously coming with it. Just slowly relaxing through the breath. So you want to encourage that left shoulder down towards the floor. You should be feeling a nice stretch through that upper side of the lower back, around the hip. Just easing out, gravity doing the work for you. You've just got to soften and let go. When you're ready, inhale, bring the legs back to centre, arm crossing, and bring the hips back in line. So just finding your starting point again with the calves, knees and thighs together. Then I'm going to lift that right leg and cross it all the way over the left at the thigh. Push into that foot, so lift the hips a little way off the floor. And then we're taking them over to the right and placing them back down. Nice big deep breath in there. And as you exhale, lowering both legs nice and slow over to the left. Encouraging that right shoulder down towards the floor. Keep the head at centre, just keep looking up towards the ceiling. And relaxing, softening, letting go a little more with each exhale. When you're ready, inhaling back to centre, uncrossing the legs, bringing the hips back in line and getting ready to relax in Shavasana. So if you're comfortable to, you can extend the legs away. You might want to put on socks or blanket if it's a little chilly. Have a bit of space between the hands, the arms and the sides of the body. And really lift and tuck those shoulders under, softening the shoulder blades, easing them down into the floor. You lift the back of the head, tuck the chin under and slowly place the head back down on the floor. And if you're comfortable to, just closing the eyes. and beginning to relax and soften. So bringing the mind to the breath, inhaling and exhaling, and just beginning to let go. So no one judging. Certainly don't judge yourself. It's a time to be kind and work with your body as you start to surrender and release the whole of the back of the body into your mat. Being aware of the features of your face and just softening, letting go of any expression. Relax around the mouth, the gums, the teeth, the tongue. Maybe swallowing that softness and releasing down the throat and out across the shoulders. Relax underneath the arms, soften the armpits, sides of the body. Notice the weight of your right arm and then your left. Softness of your right palm and then your left. Next time you inhale, just noticing that breath coming into the front of the body and just slipping away as you exhale. So there's a subtle movement with the breath, but everything else is still and quiet. Softening and relaxing the buttocks, allowing that lower back to sink and spread. The thighs, knees, calves, ankles, to the very tips of the toes, and just tipping over the tips of the toes, down the soles of the feet into the heels. Any worries, any anxieties are just flowing away. And slowly just beginning to take a longer, deeper breath. Really enjoying that breath. Really enjoying how your body has been able to work for you through this session. Being pleased with everything, grateful for everything that you've been able to do. And then when you're ready, just having a nice long lazy stretch out, maybe first moving fingers and toes. And then taking that into a deeper stretch, a longer stretch, doing whatever feels right for your body. And then when you're ready, just slowly making your way up to sitting. So you may choose to sit cross-legged, Sukhasana, easy cross-legged pose. Maybe using a block underneath your bottom just to help you sit tall. You may prefer to sit with the legs extended. Really doesn't matter, it's just about being comfortable, just about sharing the last couple of breaths, special moment together. So however you're sitting tall, maybe finding those sitting bones once more, so you're able to begin to lengthen the spine, growing tall into the crown of the head. And then through the nose, in a moment we're going to take 3 big deep breaths together. So if you're, excuse me, if you're able to use Ujjayi breath, where you're just focusing a little more on that breath in the back of the throat, just restricting the epiglottis slightly, and doing that. If that means nothing to you, don't worry, just taking 3 nice big deep breaths, and as you exhale, drawing the belly button back towards the spine. So whenever you're ready. And just coming back to a normal breath. We're just going to bring the hands either side, just stretching into the palms. So maybe now just very slowly opening the eyes, keeping the gaze lowered and soft, but just being aware of where you are. And then we're going to inhale, stretch the arms all the way up, and exhale to the heart. Namaste, peace and love to you all.